The meeting was initiated by the military themselves, and the Council of Arms Manufacturers supported it. The situation at the front is changing dynamically, and technologies that were relevant yesterday are already outdated today. To stay ahead of the enemy, the military and manufacturers must work together to find solutions that will be relevant in the future. Watch the report from the closed forum by Christina Havrish.
Strike and reconnaissance drones, ground robots, and electronic warfare systems. More than 30 manufacturers are showcasing their technological weaponry to the military. Most of these models are already indispensable at the front, like these drones that intercept enemy UAVs.
We shoot down targets up to 60 kilometers away, starting from reconnaissance wings of all types, Merlin VR, various modifications of Orlan, and strike wings, from the cheapest and easiest for the enemy to produce, like the Molnia to the Geranis 2 drones. We shoot them all down.
And this is a video of the pilots from the 25th Airborne 6th Love Brigade at work. They are fighting in the Donetsk region, where the sky is literally filled with enemy drones. Interceptors help the fighters turn all of this into scrap metal. The first models began to be used back in 2024. Now their effectiveness has increased 100-fold.
In 2024, from January to April, only 7 enemy UAVs were destroyed. In 2025, during the same 4-month period, 70 UAVs were destroyed. And this year, during the same period, mainly reconnaissance-type winged drones, 800 units were destroyed.
However, the Russians are not standing still either, so we have to constantly improve our technologies. Direct communication with the military is extremely important for manufacturers.
We have quite mobile teams, meaning they are constantly in the field, always with the military, going out on combat missions in order, first of all, to see how the military operates, to observe their needs, to see how our products actually perform during combat use.
To make this cooperation even stronger, the 7th Rapid Response Air Assault Corps initiated this closed event. The Council of Gunsmiths supported it. Here, the Corps soldiers can talk face-to-face with manufacturers and jointly find solutions that will be relevant tomorrow or in 6 months.
We prioritize the comprehensive well-being of our pilots, as well as, let's say, their situational awareness and proficiency regarding the most advanced technological tools being used today. Here, virtually all the officers from the brigades responsible for UAVs, electronic warfare, and air defense are gathered. Establishing a direct line of communication with the manufacturers is the single most effective strategy.
The 7th Air Assault Corps also has its own innovation centers. There, they not only adapt drones or electronic warfare systems to their needs, but also work on their own unique developments. Because only this way, they say, can you defeat an enemy that outnumbers you many times over.
You need to fight with intelligence and technology, not just manpower. This is the main key to our success.
Now brigades can purchase weapons independently. This forces companies to pay even more attention to the current needs of each unit.
The soldier himself votes for the product he wants to buy. And so, without this connection, without this quick feedback from our soldiers, your product, quite simply, becomes irrelevant.
At the exhibition, there are all sorts of ground-based robotic systems. They are extremely necessary at the front, primarily for logistics and for evacuating the wounded from so-called kill zones, which are completely covered by enemy fire.
Now, the kill zone has expanded significantly and reaches about 15 kilometers from the front line. If you take it in our direction, in their direction, that's about 30 kilometers of kill zone. And to send a vehicle there for delivering food supplies or ammunition, to send a car, there will be a driver inside and there will be a gunner. We are putting them in danger.
And these are the combat versions of the NRC. Here you can see how this robot captures Russian soldiers and clears the position for our infantry, who enter without firing a single shot. And this is not its only combat experience. Since last autumn, our military has been using the NRC more and more often for combat missions.
There have been several highly successful missions carried out by some of our specialized units to destroy so-called ZH Dons on the road, as well as to effectively fire upon heavy enemy military equipment and armored vehicles. Furthermore, our advanced systems help to support our troops as they storm certain strategic positions. In this way, we significantly reduce and eliminate the potential risk for our brave servicemen of being hit during these operations.
These reconnaissance drones are called analogs of the popular Chinese Mavics. However, the manufacturers say they are now much more advanced.
This is the most efficient drone thanks to its highly electronic warfare resistant connection. We have guys who fly out on Zoom for 16 kilometers, provide 34 minutes of reconnaissance streaming, and return back. That is, a Mavic could never do that under any circumstances.
The company has created a joint venture with a German manufacturer. Everything manufactured in Germany is supplied to our military. By the end of the year, about 10 Ukrainian companies will launch similar joint productions with foreign partners, according to the Arms Manufacturers Council. Our defense industry has grown 50-fold during the years of full-scale war. And now Ukraine is sharing its experience on how to fight technologically and inexpensively.
Our manufacturers are reaching the international level. Our weapons, our skills, and the experience our military is gaining, together they are already playing a geopolitical role. We are being asked not to bomb, for example, Russian oil facilities. We are being asked not to bomb parades. We are being asked to protect the skies over the Gulf countries. So we are already talking about the fact that we play not only an internal but also a geopolitical role.
Just a few years ago, most of these technologies seemed experimental. Today, they are already changing the battlefield, and the advantage goes to those who implement them faster. So our military and manufacturers are doing everything possible to minimize the distance between the trench and new technology. Kristina Havrish, Maxim Kostenko, Fakti ICTV, United News.
Ukrainian drone pilots demonstrated superior training during military exercises with NATO countries. The maneuvers were held on the Swedish island of Gotland in the Baltic Sea. The Ukrainians managed to defeat NATO forces and showed how quickly modern warfare is changing. They practiced combat operations using drones and possible responses to the growing hybrid threats from Russia. According to the scenario, there was a threat to Sweden from an unnamed state that was amassing forces on the eastern borders of the alliance. The situation was made as close to reality as possible. Ukrainian drone pilots were able to quickly disable Swedish units in a training episode. The exercises had to be paused several times. Ukrainian servicemen admit the armies of NATO countries are only beginning to adapt to the reality that Ukraine has been living with for several years. The Swedish commander openly stated Ukrainian soldiers have much more combat experience, especially with drones. So Europeans have a lot to learn, and they are glad for the opportunity to hear practical advice. And Ukrainian veterans, after physical rehabilitation, acknowledge the need for further psychological recovery. It is simply impossible to overcome the effects of stress, anxiety, depression, irritability, and exhaustion on your own. President Zelensky arrived in Romania today for the Bucharest 9 summit. On the sidelines of the event, the head of state has a number of meetings. The main topic of the negotiations is security. The discussion will focus on attracting additional resources for our defense and expanding the drone deals format. Let me remind you, this is a program for joint drone production with other countries, which has already attracted the interest of 20 nations worldwide. Let me remind you, the Bucharest 9.
I believe that all of us need bilateral drone deals, agreements that will allow us to integrate every part of national defense so that we can respond to modern threats by using European manufacturing capabilities and Ukraine's expertise, which has been proven in real defense during an actual war. But the reality of modern warfare is that technology changes very quickly every single day. It is not enough to simply have the tools. You also need real expertise in using these systems and the same speed of adaptation as the threats themselves. Right now, only we have this expertise. Only our soldiers possess it.
The Bucharest 9 summit includes Bulgaria, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Romania, Slovakia, Ukraine, and Czechia. Also, this time, the new NATO members, Sweden and Finland, are present as well. During his speech, Volodymyr Zelensky thanked the partners for their support and expressed hope that the first tranches of the 90 billion credit will arrive soon, and that negotiation clusters regarding EU accession will also be opened. The president emphasized the need to maintain NATO unity and to develop a common European defense policy. He warned that fuel prices, the cost of energy resources, and Europe's competitiveness are just as much targets for Russia as our independence and our people's right to choose their own future.
We are not abandoning diplomatic efforts and hope that pressure on Russia, together with negotiations in various formats, will help establish peace. Sanctions are working, our long-range capabilities are working, and every form of pressure is working. We are in constant contact with America. We expect that the issue of ending Russia's war against Ukraine will be raised now as well, while the President of the United States is in China. But please, do not forget that the most effective tools are those that can physically stop the Russians. This is especially true for the PIR program, which allows us, here and now, while Europe is still not producing enough anti-ballistic missiles, to purchase such missiles. Please support PR. This is critically important